Today we're starting a project that really means a lot to us, and that's building a custom guitar for the legendary Martin Simpson. It's a privilege to work with such a brilliant musician who we've become close to over the years, and we're looking forward to bringing you along for the ride. It's going to be a journey from start to finish, and through this special video series I can't wait to share it all with you. Martin Simpson is an acclaimed British guitarist, singer and songwriter known for his innovative approach to folk, blues and traditional music. For anyone out there that isn't yet familiar with Martin Simpson or needs a little refresher of just what an incredible musician he is, here's a little reminder. Martin is celebrated for his mastery of fingerstyle guitar and his deep roots in traditional British folk music. He's easily one of the most respected figures in British folk and the acoustic guitar scene. Martin's career spans over 4 decades, during which he has released numerous albums and garnered critical acclaim for his distinctive guitar playing and emotive voice. His musical style blends folk, blues and acoustic genres with an emphasis on storytelling through his lyrics and the intricate, expressive sounds he creates on the guitar. And if I'm not mistaken, he's been nominated for BBC Radio 2 Folk Awards 32 times, more than any other performer, and he's won it at least twice, among many other awards, too numerous really to list. Our working relationship goes back some way. We met originally through a mutual friend in 2017, and Martin actually visited me at my very first Turnstone workshop, and he's always been so engaged and encouraging of the work that we do. After a number of conversations in the early stages of the pandemic, I had the pleasure of building a custom guitar for Martin in 2021. Which was based on the same guitar specification that I used on another instrument, which I had actually asked him to critique. It turned out the time he spent with that guitar, he actually fell in love with it and wanted it. But unfortunately, it had just been sold to a buyer in South Korea the day before he called me saying that he wanted it. Talk about the law of sod in action. So I promised to do my best to build him that exact instrument again, just for Martin, and as much as possible, did just that. And the result is that you may have seen it played at one of his gigs or heard it featured on Martin's most recent album, Sky Dancers. Fast forward a few years to the summer of 2024 when Martin phones me to say he's been thinking about something for a while and he wanted to talk to me about it. So we had a call and it was clear that this probably needed a face-to-face chat. Okay.
Good.
We're going.
Excellent.
You won't focus, that's recording.
We love all this.
Oh my goodness.
How deluxe.
Now let's get our brains onto what was actually important.
Right.
He said he loves the existing guitar, but to play it for any significant amount of time, he needs the string spacing to be wider. I initially presumed this to mean a wider nut, but it actually turned out to be the string spacing at the saddle that needed the biggest amendment.
It's just that feeling of being able to
get your fingers in.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And have you found yourself, and what happens, I guess, on the slimmer ones?
It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It kind of.
I love working with musicians like Martin. They offer feedback and insight that is so valuable to guitar makers like me. I jumped at the chance to work with him again on building a brand new custom-made instrument. The main question is, what else could we and should we change? After that call with Martin, we agreed I would take some time to think about the build, and after discussing some ideas with Carl, we decided to focus on something I've become more conscious of lately and I felt would particularly resonate with someone like Martin. Incorporating a portion of FSC-certified wood into the guitar.
Guitar makers and guitar players are very often incredibly conservative creatures, and I think it's too late for that. You know, I think we're looking at so many changes in the world that we need to move. We can't just keep going right. You you know, I need to make this guitar out of those woods because I know that's the best guitars are always made out of these woods. Can't do that now, really.
No.
And don't want to.
No. Yeah.
So a thing that came up in our conversation on the phone the other day was FSC, right? Which is Forestry
Stewardship Council. For those who aren't familiar, FSC stands for Forest Stewardship Council. It ensures that the timber is sourced from forests that are managed sustainably, preserving biodiversity, supporting local communities, and maintaining economic viability. FSC-certified forests meet strict environmental, social, economic standards based on 10 principles covering conservation, community regulations, workers' rights, and the monitoring of impacts. In recent years, I've noticed more luthier supply houses offering timber from FSC forests. Having already worked extensively with alternative woods, I know firsthand that you can build a fantastic guitar with non-traditional tonewoods. Since Martin is deeply passionate about the environment, I thought he might be interested in incorporating FSC certified wood into this build. However, the challenge will be finding the right woods that will still support and enhance his playing style.
So we're sitting looking at wood, are we not?
We are. So yeah, this is what I'm proposing for your upcoming build.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because I had a bit of time to think in the car on the way, where your previous guitar obviously came about through kind of a guitar that you'd already tried of mine that you loved. So we followed very much kind of that wood spec. So there's obviously now I've kind of been getting to know your playing style a little bit more. There's just certain elements of your play that, you know, I understand a lot more now.
Good.
So,
well, that's really exciting. I love that.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I think what we should talk about more is the playability aspect, because that, I guess, is where this kind of started from, with the neck needing to be a little bit wider. But I think with that, it also was like, oh yeah, now I can potentially trial some woods that I actually think are more suited to your style.
Yeah.
And I guess, and I'd want to hear your perspective on it more than me putting words in your mouth, but from what I've seen of your playing, from kind of a tonal perspective, is you don't need forgiveness. Your guitars do not need to forgive you for any mistakes. You want something that is sharp and focused and can attack. And one thing I noticed more and more with your playing is, you know, you try to drive it, and you do things with your play to enable that to happen. So playing closer to the bridge, using very harder picks, harder than your nails. Yeah. So you need a guitar that can stand up to that.
I've always had this thing that I basically people have joked about it, but it's true. I tend to play guitars which, if you make mistakes, the guitar amplifies them. So, ooh, that was a really loud mistake, you know. And it is absolutely exactly what you're talking about. I want a guitar that is unforgiving, because I want absolutely everything I do with it to be heard. It's not, you know, it's not that. It's never that. Yeah. You know. And this is a piece of ebony which is FSC approved, and it's really interesting because it is really highly figured, actually. It's got a lot of colour in it. And ebony, and black as ebony. Well, clearly not. And I think that's great. I'm really excited at the prospect of using, because this is incredibly beautiful wood, I think. And why not use ebony that isn't just black and requires bits of abalone to make it interesting? I think that's a great start right there.
Yeah. And as I was saying before, so you've got kind of that, and then, you know, utilising a bridge that's got a similar characteristic. I think it, from a visual perspective, brings in just a lovely element of something to catch your eye.
I quite agree.
That is subtle, but it all will add to the final picture of the beauty of the instrument.
Yeah, I'm with you entirely. It's lovely. And we've got some more wood down here.
Right, so
now, I had not even heard of this.
Yeah, so the premise of me coming across this type of wood is, well, both in line with thinking, what I mentioned earlier about trying to find woods that are unforgiving, can take the attack and kind of give you everything you need. But also with kind of where we're coming from, what woods we're utilising and where we kind of want to go in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And this one all kind of started to fit the bill. So it's got, I'd say, a very similar characteristic to African blackwood.
Right.
In that it is heavy, but it rings. It's got a fairly even pore structure. It's fairly heavy, but I think that's what I think you need.
Well, heavy's good as far as I'm concerned. That's not massively heavy.
No. But yeah, if you.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's got that glass. It's got that glassiness that.
It does.
A lot of the rosewoods and Brazilian wenge, or say Coco Bolo, are famous for. But it's got
very attractive,
and it's beautiful as well.
Is,
I mean, it's got kind of that aubergine purple tinge to it. It's got some nice streaking through it.
That's I love that.
Yeah. But as well, it's FSC.
Yeah.
So.
And this is Mexican Royal Ebony.
Yes.
Who could resist that? Not me.
But I think I think at this point as well I need to say that it's not something we have built with before, so I hold my hands up in that this is going to be an experiment, but to be honest, I want you to try it and to be honest.
Yeah. Tell me. I love these.
Well, that's nice you say it, because often when you see things like that, you're like, oh no, like, wait, how can I place it? Potentially try and get rid of it. But again, like similar to the ebony, you're like, it's
why
wood.
would you want to get rid of it?
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a story.
It is, yeah. I'm very excited about this. I think it's great. It's a very attractive wood. I mean, look, it's kind of got a bit of sort of flame, for want of a better word. Yeah,
if you catch the light there, so that will have a nice little bit of a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll under finish, we'll kind of take on a darker luster as well and really amplify that.
The contrasting colours in it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And the sides, we've got the sides down here.
Yeah.
Also.
The sides. We've got here, so again, nice striping, so that will work in nicely with the back as far as the colour match.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Originally, when I was sanding it, I thought that these were bandsaw marks, but it's actually some distinct figuring in the edges.
Yeah, and this is got a lot of note in it.
Yeah.
It's loud wood.
Yeah.
Mexican loud wood.
It is going to be loud.
And that's what we want.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I've just finished an African blackwood guitar, and I would put this kind of in a very similar sphere, as well as something like Coco Bolo, Wenge.
Yeah. But I doubt that. I mean, Wenge is horrible to work with, is it not?
It can be quite difficult.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought this would be.
No, I mean, it's having built some ebony guitars before, I was surprised at how well actually the African blackwood bent, and it's a rosewood species, even though it looks and kind of acts a bit more like ebony. So if this acts a bit more like ebony when it bends, that's my only apprehension, is that it can be a little bit harder, but I think hopefully now I can cope with the additional challenge that might bring.
It's very, very beautiful. And we have down here.
I'll just pass that to you.
Thank you.
I'll give you the back of that other.
Shall I put that?
Yeah.
On there.
So this one, in relation to the top, I know that you've had a few guitars built out of Adirondack.
Yeah.
Again, I think it supports the last one was Swiss Moon spruce, which it can take an attack, but maybe it's got a bit more of a slight more top end. You lose the top end, or it doesn't quite have the headroom, I think is the word that I was looking for.
Yeah, and I require a lot of headroom.
Yeah. And I think this combined with that, again, is going to build a beast of an instrument.
Yeah.
The question that I have for you, though, is what visually, because I've got two boards here.
Yeah.
And one is kind of that perfect...
Yeah, my immediate reaction is that.
I thought it might be, and I was hoping that you would go for that, because I think this is actually a really beautiful piece of wood, although it may not be somebody or the perfectionist's first question.
Yeah, I think that is extraordinarily beautiful. I love the fact that it's got some clear variation in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly straight grained and wonderful. May I?
Yes, please.
I'll take this one.
And you can see the rays in it as well.
Yeah, I'm loving this. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, and the more of an angle you put it, I think it's beautiful. I love the dark stripes. I love the width of some of this. I think it's a funny thing, because with a lot of spruce, people are looking for dead straight and narrow, and Adirondack's not like that.
No.
So that to me is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that whole grain line thing kind of for me got blown out of the water, because I use a lot of English Western red cedar, and that is very visually stripy. But having worked it and knowing how it feels, it's as strong as any of those fine grained spruce. And then sometimes we'll get really fine, perfectly looking European spruce, floppy as a fish.
Yeah.
So it's but
not what you want.
If you just slightly flex it, and you feel there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not giving you anything,
No.
and that's what I look for in quality spruce tops.
Yeah.
But obviously Adirondack has that to a more advanced degree than the spruce wood, but again, like, it's got there.
Yeah.
And you just catch it on the nodal point.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's got a lovely ring to it.
That's very exciting stuff.
We chose to stick with the same model size as Martin's previous Turnstone, the TM model, because it perfectly suits his playing style. The mid-sized body offers a quicker response and a punchy sound that complements Martin's approach. We also decided to maintain the 650mm scale length, the Florentine cutaway, and the 14th fret body join, as these features have proven to work well for him. The custom string spacing will require a specially designed fretboard and saddle. Since the string spacing is the main focus of this new instrument, let's start there. The nut width will remain largely the same, increasing slightly from 44.5mm to 45mm. However, the string spacing at the saddle will expand more significantly from 58mm to 62.5mm. This deviates significantly from our usual nut to saddle ratio, but it's a necessary adjustment to achieve what Martin's looking for. In terms of design, we're keeping things clean and contemporary with the focus on our ever-evolving style. We'll incorporate burlwoods as the centre feature of the rosette, continuing the aesthetic we've been refining. Pickup configuration is yet to be decided. Martin has always relied on the Highlander IP1 and the IP2 pickups, along with traditionally the Macaferry Feather, but unfortunately both have been discontinued. On the last guitar we built, I installed one of the Highlander IP2 pickups alongside the K&K Trinity system, giving Martin the ability to mix all three together in stereo with a preamp and a mixer. For this build, we're likely to go with the K&K Trinity again, but we're now researching options for what that new piezo can be. So if you have any recommendations for a great piezo that provides the best under-saddle sound, we'd love to hear your thoughts in those comments below. Other features will be including a small round-over arm bevel for comfort. We are going to do our signature fret markers, as Martin wants them to be super clear on all sides of the fretboard. We'll also be doing our signature offset heel, which comes in especially useful when you have an integrated cutaway. Everything from the inlays to the hardware is being carefully selected to meet Martin's exact needs. This is going to be a guitar that not only sounds great, but feels perfect in his hands. Here in the workshop is where the magic happens, from bending the sides into shape, carving the braces, spraying the finish, fitting the frets, hand finishing every single detail, and I'll be guiding you through every step of the process. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're as excited about this build as I am. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and make sure you don't miss an episode. And thank you for watching.